Chapter 9. Effect of complaints and non-compliance with Baba's orders at the time of taking leave. A few instances, mendicancy and its necessary. Devotees, Tharkat's families, experiences. Baba fed sumptuously. How? At the end of the last chapter, it was barely stated that the Bhaktas who obeyed Baba's orders at the time of taking leave fared well, and those who disobeyed them suffered many a mishap. This statement will be amplified and illustrated with a few striking instances, and by other matters dealt with in this chapter. Characteristics of Shirdi pilgrimage. One special peculiarity of Shirdi pilgrimage was this, that none could leave Shirdi without Baba's permission, and if he did, he invited untold sufferings. But if anyone was asked to quit Shirdi, he could stay there no longer. Baba gave certain suggestions or hints when Bhaktas went to bid goodbye and take leave. These suggestions had to be followed. If they were not followed or were departed from accidents, were sure to befall them. Who acted contrary to Baba's directions? We give below a few instances. Tatya Kote Patil. Tatya Kote was once going in a tanga to Kopagan Bazar. He came in haste to the masjid, saluted Baba and said that he would go to the Kopagan Bazar. Baba said, "Don't make haste. Stop a little. Forget the bazaar. Don't go out of the village." On seeing his anxiety to go, Baba asked him to take Shama, Madhavrav Deshpande, at least with him, not minding this direction. Tatya Kote immediately drove his tanga. Of the two horses, one, which cost rupees 300, was very active and restless. After passing Sowell Well, it began to run rashly, got a sprain in its waist and fell down. Tatya was not much hurt, but was reminded of Mother Sai's direction. On another occasion, while proceeding to Kolhar village, he disregarded Baba's direction and drove in a tanga which met with a similar accident. European gentleman. One European gentleman of Bombay once came to Shirdi with an introductory note from Nana Sahib Chandorkar and with some object in view. He was comfortably accommodated in a tent. He wanted to kneel before Baba and kiss his hand. Therefore, he tried thrice to step into the masjid, but Baba prevented him from doing so. He was asked to sit in the open courtyard below and take Baba's darshan therefrom. Not pleased with the reception he got, he wanted to leave Shirdi at once and came to bid goodbye. Baba asked him to go the next day and not to make hurry. People also requested him to abide by Baba's direction. Not listening to all this, he left Shirdi in a tanga. The horses ran at fast all right, but when Shawl Well was passes, a bicycle came in front, on seeing which the horses were frightened and ran fast. The tanga was turned topsy-turvy and the gentleman fell down and was dragged some distance. He was immediately rescued, but had to go and lie in Kopergan Hospital for the treatment of his injuries. Such experiences were legion, and all the people learned the lesson that those who disobeyed Baba's instruction met with accidents in one way or the other, and those who obeyed them were safe and happy. The necessity of mendicancy. Now to return to the question of mendicancy, a question may arise in the minds of some. What if Baba was such a great personage, God in fact? Why should he have recourse to the begging bowl all his lifetime? The question may be considered and replied from two standpoints. Who are the fit persons who have a right to live by the begging bowl? Our Shastras say that those persons who, after getting rid or becoming free from the three main desires, for progeny, for wealth, for fame, accept sannyas, are fit persons to live by begging alms. They cannot make cooking arrangements and dine at home. The duty of feeding them is laid on the shoulders of our householders. Saibaba was neither a householder nor a vanaprastha. He was a celebrate sannyasi, that is, sannyasi from boyhood. His firm conviction was that the universe was his home. He was the Lord Vasudeva, the supporter of the universe and the imperishable Brahman. So he had the full right to have recourse to the begging bowl. Now, from the standpoint of Panchasoon of 5 sins and their atonement, we all know that in order to prepare foodstuffs and meals, the householders had to go through 5 actions or process: Khandani, pounding; Pershani, grinding; Udakumba, washing pots; Marjani, sweeping and cleaning; chuli, lighting hearths. These processes involve destruction a lot of small insects and creatures, and thus the householders incur an amount of sin. In order to atone for this sin, our Shastras prescribe 5 kinds of sacrifices: Brahma Yajna, Veda Dhyana, offerings to Brahman or the study of the Vedas; Pitri, Yajna offerings to the ancestors; Deva Yajna, offerings to the god; and Bhuta Yajna, offering to the beings; Manushya Atiti Yajna, offerings to men or uninvited guests. If these sacrifices enjoined by the Shastras are duly performed, the purification of the minds is effected, and this helps them to get knowledge and self-realization. Baba, in going from house to house, reminded the inmates of their sacred duty. Unfortunate were the people who got the lessons at their home from Baba. Devotees' experiences. Now to return to the other more interesting subject. Lord Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, "Whosoever devotedly offers to me a leaf, a flower, or a fruit, or water of that pure-hearted man, I accept that pious offerings." In the case of Sai Baba, if a devotee intend really to offer anything to Sai Baba, and if he afterwards forget to offer the same, Baba reminded him or his friend about the offering and made him present it to him, and then accepted it and blessed the devotee. A few instances are given below. Tarkat family, father and son. Mr. Ramchandra Atmaram alias Baba Sahib Tarkat, formerly a Pratna Samajist, was a staunch devotee of Sai Baba. His wife and son equally loved Baba, or perhaps more. It was once proposed the Master Tarkat should go with his mother to Shirdi and spend his May vacation there, but the son was unwilling to go, as he thought that in case he left his home in Bandra, the worship of Sai Baba in the house would not be properly attended to, as his father, being a Pratna Samajist, would not care to worship Sai Baba's enlarged picture. However, on his father's giving an assurance of oath that he would perform the worship exactly as the son was doing, the mother and the son left for Shirdi on Friday night. Next day, Saturday, Mr. Tarkat got up early, took his bath, and before proceeding with the puja, prostrated himself before the shrine, and said, "Baba, I am going to perform the puja exactly as my son has been doing, but please let it not be a formal drill." So saying, he performed the puja and offered a few pieces of lump sugar as Naivedya offering. The sugar was distributed at the time of the lunch. That evening and next Sunday, everything went on well. The following Monday was a working day, and it also passed well. Mr. Thakkar, who had never performed puja like this in all his life, felt great confidence within himself that everything was passing on quite satisfactorily according to the promise given to the son. Next Tuesday, he performed the morning puja as usual and left for his work. Coming home at noon, he found that there was no prasad, sugar, to partake of. When the meal was served, he asked the servant cook, who told him that there was no offering made that morning and that he had completely forgotten then to perform that part of the puja offering Nivedya. At this, he left his seat and prostrated himself before the shrine, expressed his regret at the same time, chiding Baba for the want of guidance in making the whole affair a matter or mere drill. Then he wrote a letter to his son, stating the facts and question, and requested him to lay it before Baba's feet and ask his pardon for his neglect. This happened in Bandra at about Tuesday noon. At about the same time, when the noon aarti was just about to commence in Shirdi, Baba said to Mrs. Tharkat, "Mother, I had been to your house in Bandra with a view to have something to eat. I found the door locked. I somehow got an entrance inside and found to my regret that Mr. Tharkat, had left nothing for me to eat, and I have returned unappeased." The lady did not understand this, but the son, who was close by, understood the whole thing, that there was something wrong with the puja in Bandra, and he therefore requested Baba to permit him to go home. Baba refused this, but allowed him to perform puja there. Then the son wrote a letter to his father, stating all that took place at Shirdi, and implored his father not to neglect the puja at home. Both these letters crossed each other and were delivered to their respective parties the next day. Is this not wonderful? Mrs. Tharkar. Let us now take up the case of Mrs. Tharkar herself. She offered three things: bharit, roasted brinjal, eggplant, mixed with curds and spices; kacharia, circular pieces of brinjal fried in ghee; peda, sweet meatball. Let us see how Baba accepted these. One Mr. Raghuveer Bhaskar Purandare of Bandra, a great devotee of Baba, started for Shirdi with family. Mrs. Tharkar went to Mrs. Purandare and gave her two brinjals and requested her to prepare bharit of one brinjal and kacharia of the other. When she went to Shirdi and served Baba with them, after reaching Shirdi, Mrs. Purandare went with her dish of bharit to the masjid. When Baba was just sitting for meals, Baba found the bharit was very tasty. So he distributed it to all and said that he wanted kacharias now. A word was sent to Radha Krishnamai that Baba wanted kacharias. She was in a fix, as that was no season of brinjals. How to get brinjals was the question. When an enquiry was made as to who brought the brinjal, it was found that Mrs. Purandare was also entrusted with the duty of serving kacharias. Everybody then came to know the significance of Baba's enquiry regarding kacharias and was wonderstruck at Baba's all-pervasive knowledge. In December 1915 AD, one Govind Balaram Mankar wanted to go to Shirdi to perform the obsequies of his father. Before he left, he came to see Mr. Tharkar and then Mrs. Tharkar wanted to send something with him to Baba. She searched the whole house, but found nothing except a peda, which had already been offered as Nevedya. The boy, Govind, was in mourning. Still, out of great devotion of Baba, she sent the peda with him, hoping that Baba would accept and eat it. Govind went to Shirdi and saw Baba, but forgot to take the peda with him. Baba simply waited. When again he went to Baba in the afternoon, he went empty-handed. Without the peda, Baba could wait no longer and therefore did ask him straight, "What did you bring for me?" "Nothing," was the reply. Baba asked him again. The same reply came from again. Then Baba asked him the leading question, "Did not the mother, Mrs. Tharkar, give some sweet meat to you for me at the time of your starting?" The boy then remembered the whole thing. He felt abashed, asked Baba's pardon, ran to his lodging, brought the peda and gave it to Baba. As soon as Baba got it in his hand, he put it into his mouth and gulped it down. Thus the devotion of Mrs. Tharkar was recognized and accepted. As men believe in me, so do I accept them. Gita 4-11 was proved in this case. Baba fed sumptuously. How? Once Mrs. Tharkar was staying in a certain house in Shirdi. At noon, meals were ready and dishes were being served. When a hungry dog turned up there and began to bark, Mrs. Tharkar got up at once and threw a piece of bread, while the dog gulped up with great relish. In the afternoon, when she went to the masjid and sat at some distance, Saibaba said to her, "Mother, you have fed me sumptuously up to my throat. My afflicted pranas, life forces, have been satisfied. Ever act like this, and this will stand you in a good stead. Sitting in this masjid, I shall never speak untruth. Take pity on me like this. First give bread to the hungry, and then eat yourself. Note this well." She could not at first understand the meaning of what Baba said. So she replied, "Baba, how could I feed you? I myself dependent on others and take my food from them on payment." Then Baba replied, "Eating that lovely bread, I am heartily contented, and I am still blenching. The dog which you saw before meals and which you gave the piece of bread is one with me. So also other creatures, cats, pigs, flies, cows, etc., are one with me. I am roaming in their forms. He who sees me in all the creatures is my beloved. So abandon the sense of duality and distinction and serve me as you did today. Drinking these nectar like birds, she was moved. Her eyes were bedimmed with tears, her throat was choked, and her joy knew no bounds. Moral: see God in all beings is the moral of this chapter. The Upanishads, the Gita, and the Bhagavad all exhort us to perceive God or divinity in all the creatures. By the instance given at the end of this chapter and others too numerous to mention, Sai Baba has practically demonstrated to us how to put the Upanishadic teachings into practice. In this way, Sai Baba stands as the best exponent or teacher of the Upanishadic doctrines. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sairam.